So here's some interesting news. The Carolina Panthers general manager said that there is an open competition for the starting quarterback position on the Carolina Panthers roster after they acquired Baker Mayfield. Of course, Baker acquired in that big trade, or big, quote unquote, with the Browns. He went for a fifth round pick. It wasn't that big. But Baker Mayfield now, nevertheless, is a Carolina Panther, and he is competing with his 2018 first round draft classmate in Sam Darnold for the starting position there. And the big question on everyone's mind is, who is the better quarterback? Who is going to be under center for the Carolina Panthers starting week 1 of the NFL season when the Panthers play, ironically enough, the Cleveland Browns? The answer to that question, I know a lot of people might feel some type of way about Baker Mayfield. I know some people might feel that he probably needs to earn his keep. But as far as who's starting, it's going to end up being who's the better quarterback overall, I think. The better quarterback is Baker Mayfield. I don't think that's really up for debate. I do know that there are going to be the detractors who, have a point when they say that Baker Mayfield, in big moments, outside of that one playoff win for the Browns, which some people want to just sweep under the rug like it didn't happen. It did happen. But Baker Mayfield, in other moments, is not rose up to that first overall pick potential, which I'd agree with. But you're making a case here between a quarterback and Baker Mayfield who is 29-30 as an NFL starter. You take that last season away when he was injured for the majority of the season. He's got a winning record as a starting quarterback. He's won a playoff game. He's won 11-5 as a starting quarterback in the NFL. His rookie season, he went, I believe, 6-7, right there. Had the Browns right there in the thick of it. After they went 0-16 the year before and 1-15 the year before. So obviously that big improvement happened. Baker Mayfield broke the rookie touchdown record. He has had seasons where he has shown exactly why he was picked number 1 overall. Now he's had some seasons to prove exactly why he probably shouldn't have been, but he has had those real good spurts of great play, honestly great play, throughout his tenure. Now, Sam Darnold, on the other hand, he has had games, like individual games, where you thought, hey, maybe this is it. Maybe this is when Sam Darnold finally, by God, finally reaches that potential of being the 3rd overall pick that the Jets thought he was. Outside of going 7-6 as the starter in his second year, which was his best year, outside of that, he has shown nothing. I'm going to be very frank with you. I like Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold is a really good backup in the NFL. I do not think he's a starter. If you're asking me today, who's a top 32 quarterback in the NFL, Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield, every single time I'm going to tell you Baker Mayfield. Sam Darnold is 17-32 as a starter. Not all of it's his fault. I get that. Nevertheless, 17-32 as a starter, 54 touchdowns to 52 interceptions, completed less than 60% of his passes in that span. Last year with the Carolina Panthers, he showed them hope. Panthers started, 3-1? Everyone thought, hey, maybe the Panthers are going to be the big team out of the NFC South to potentially challenge the reigning defending world champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They weren't it. They fell apart in part due to Sam Darnold. So there's that. There's the fact that we have a player in Baker Mayfield who has had questionable coaching throughout his career. That is just true. Throughout his career, especially the beginning of his career in Cleveland, when we were talking about his first few games, his rookie year, and then Freddie Kitchens the second year wasn't great. But that's a guy who's been there, done that. And look, Matt Rule, I know there's a lot of people, myself included, who were big fans of Matt Rule, who thought that Matt Rule was going to be the guy to potentially bring the Carolina Panthers out of obscurity. Right now, he's proving that he might not be ready for the NFL. He might not be ready for this job. He might not be ready to be a head coach in professional football. And that's okay. He was a great college coach. Doesn't mean it transitions over to the NFL. So you have to factor that in. You have to factor in the fact that Sam Darnold, we've seen what he can do. And we've only seen him with bad coaches, whether it be old Adam Gase over there up in New York, or Now Matt Rule, again, I hate calling Matt Rule a bad coach, but he's got to do something. He's got to prove a lot of people, myself included, wrong now and go out there and lead this team to the playoffs. Because otherwise, Matt Rule's job's gone. And the best way forward is by getting Baker Mayfield under center and putting him under center. And look, say what you want about Baker Mayfield. Say he is not a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. No, he's not. Easily, right? But when there's a chip on this dude's shoulder, it is undoubtable that when Baker Mayfield has a chip on his shoulder, the dude shows up and performs. Now, whether or not he annoys his teammates all hell while he does it, whether or not he annoys the announcers all hell while he does it, whether or not he annoys the fans all hell while he does it, that's neither here nor there. That doesn't matter. When Baker Mayfield has a chip on his shoulder, Baker Mayfield wins. That's just the God's honest truth. He came into the NFL with a chip on his shoulder. And what did he do? 6-7 with a terrible team. A terrible team. Next year, they go 6-10 because they have the Browns. You cannot excuse that. You cannot excuse what the Browns did that second year. But he got better his third year. When Baker Mayfield needed to get better, he did. So I think that there's enough that shows that Baker Mayfield is a better quarterback. There's enough that shows that Baker Mayfield is motivated. There's enough that shows that Baker Mayfield, when you put the right pieces around him, can win you football games. At the end of the day, that is what it's about. You have Run CMC. You have DJ Moore. You have a guy in Robbie Anderson who I know, he just apologized, or I guess retracted his statement, whatever you want to call it, about Baker Mayfield. So there's still some moving parts there. The defense is getting better. Matt Rule has to get better as a head coach. The big wild card in this is the offensive coordinator, Ben McAdoo. I have no idea what they would expect with Ben McAdoo calling plays again, but hopefully it doesn't end up anything like the last time. But again, don't get me wrong. This is not this is not the easiest choice to make. I'm not trying to say that Baker Mayfield is a top 10 quarterback. I'm not trying to make the case of Baker Mayfield. Oh, he's a great quarterback. No, he's a good quarterback. Baker Mayfield is a good quarterback, and he is good enough to be a starter in the NFL. He has proven that. But I think we also need to question what being a starter means, right? Because we can talk about, because if being a starter means you're a top 10 quarterback, then I don't know. Then I think we're getting into weird territory, because that's who's a great quarterback, who's an elite quarterback. For me, being a starter is you're a top 32 quarterback. You are one of the top 32 quarterbacks at your position, or top in the league. That's what being a starting quarterback means, at least to me, in the NFL. Baker Mayfield, definitely a top 32 quarterback in the NFL. Therefore, he's the best quarterback they got. It ain't P.J. Walker, ain't Sam Darnold. It's good old Baker. Let me know what you guys think, though, in the chat, or in the comment section, I should say. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released.